differences between Abraham and Moses, and I may not even fully get into Moses. Genesis 11 begins to let us know that the ancestors of Abram begins with Shem, and his father is Terah. Abraham had two brothers, one named Nahor and the other one Haran. So Haran passed away while they were still in Ur of Chaldean. And I'm going to take scriptorial liberty, but not even fully because you'll see what I'm talking about. Um, it is likely due to the famine that was taking place in 2180 BC, causing them to have to even leave Ur in the first place. So his brother passed away. His father, his other brother, his nephew, his niece of his dead brother were there. Okay, this is verse 29. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and the father of Isaac. But Sarah didn't have any kids. So then they leave Ur of Chaldean and they go into the land of Canaan. So if Canaan is the promised land, Abraham has already saw it. And they came into Haran and dwelt there. So they went from Ur, they went to Canaan, and then they went back to Ur to stay. And the days of Terah were 205 years old, and Terah died in Haran. Mind you, Terah is Abram's father, so his father left Ur with him. Genesis 12, then Abraham was instructed to get out of thy country. Let me see if I can find this real quick so I can bring this out. Because it's a scripture in here that said, and Abram went out from Ur. And I have it in my notes, but I wasn't even gonna bring this up. But let's see if I can find the scripture. Genesis 19 and 15 it may be, or is it 13 and 1? Let me see. Oh yes, Genesis 13 and 1. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot went him into the south. So this is Abram being taken out of Egypt after the famine. We're going to go back to the scripture, but I want to take you guys here in the Hebrew. Genesis 13 and 1. This word right here is Alah. Alah, meaning to ascend, to bring up. It is mostly in reference to ascending upward in the mountain to make offerings in a sacrificial context. Allah is often used to describe the act of offering sacrifices. They are brought up to the altar. Mind you, Abraham did not have a sacrificial system set up like Moses. We gonna remember that, okay? So, the act of offering sacrifice described by Allah was central to Israelite worship, signifying atonement and dedication to God. So when he Allah'd, when he went up, there was him ascending and atoning and showing his dedication to the Most High. And we are going to see that Abraham did indeed erect an altar. Let me see. Yes. So we know that he went into Canaan. So let's go to verse 5. And Abram 12 and 5, Genesis. And Abram took Sarah his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that had gotten in Haran. So they had servants in Haran. And they went forth into the land of Canaan. So they're leaving Haran again, and they're going back into Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land of the place of Shechem unto the plain of Morah, and the Canaanite was then in the land. Okay, so let's go see what Shechem is in the Bible to see, if Abraham saw the promised land or not. Shechem, also known as Nablus today, was an ancient city in southern Levant located between Mount Elba and Mount Gerizim, and is significant in the Hebrew Bible, serving as the first capital of the Kingdom of Israel after the split of the United Monarchs. So this is after David. And so Shechem ended up belonging to the northern kingdoms. And it is believed by some that this is where Joseph was buried. So Shechem is very important, and it first belonged to the Canaanite, as the Bible begins to state. And it's important to know that the Suk, S-E-K, the Sedek, S-Y-K-H-E-M, I'm going to bring that out in comparison to, I'm going to just tell y'all, Sukmet, the goddess of Egypt, Shechem, this, and then Sedek, when we begin to look at the deification of Sedek, let's look into see who Sedek is. No, I'm not going to do that. Not in this video. Not in this video. Y'all see how much information I got in me? Not in this video. But yes, Sedek is a deity. Okay? A deity of righteousness in correlation with Jupiter. So we see in Genesis 12, and it says, and we just going to say, Allah appeared to Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land, and there build he an altar. And that's why I said Allah, because he was being commanded to sacrifice and to, well, Abraham decided to build an altar unto him who appeared unto him. Okay, so let's look in Genesis 12 and 7. And I'm going to just read to y'all what's being said here so y'all can know I'm not making a difference between Abraham and Moses. These the Bible is. And even by the definitions and the words that's used in the Hebrew to describe certain things that they did. So when we began to look, the promise was already given to Abram for the land to be given. So there was no need for a new covenant with Moses. That was a perpetual covenant. Let's begin to see. Verse 1, 12. Get thee out of thy country, from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make a great nation of thee, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be blessed. And I will bless thee that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. There was no Deuteronomy 28 and 68. There was no voodoo blood curse and sprinkling and slaughtering of animals and dribbling it on. He told him, I'm going to bless you. And Abram decided to build an altar after he was told, this is the land that I'm going to give to you. He built an altar, and then he began to pitch a tent on the east of Bethel. And Bethel is one of the holy places, right? Okay, so he pitched a tent. He built an altar to call upon the name of Allah, A-L-A-H. Let's see, the altar is Mizpah. This is Strong's 41 and 96. So this is related from the same root as Zabak, meaning sacrifice or to slaughter. So the term Mitzbich refers to an altar, a structure upon which sacrifices or altars are made to God in the Hebrew. Okay, so I'm finna tell y'all what this says, right? It begins to talk about the burnt offerings that was created, but then it makes a distinction. It says altars were also erected by patriarchs like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as they encountered God and sought to honor him. So they were not making altars for animal sacrifices. And we gonna go into some things. They were making altars after they encountered the deity. And when they began to come into new lands. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Noah even built an altar. There was no sacrificial system set up. These altars were made of stone and of earthen mound. You see that word said also. They also. And so to back up the supposed cause of death for Haran, the brother of Abraham, Genesis 12 and 10, and there was a famine in the land, and Abraham went down in Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And this would be under Pharaoh Pepi the second, P-E-P-I the second. His reign was peaceful, and then in came the Asiatics, these Hebrews, Amorites, so on and so forth. And ancient Egypt entered into a dark period from 2181 to 2055 BC under Menuhotep. And it was a lot of wars, a lot of fighting. They had to go down into West Africa and into the Americas to get food due to the famine that was there. So when we began to, you know what, I'm going to come back and make a part 2 or a few more parts, but a lot more parts to get into when Abram actually is instructed to gather certain animals. And we're going to get into why he gathered the animals. And we're going to delve into him going into this deep prophetic sleep. But I hope you guys have begun to gather to see that there's a difference between Abraham altars and Moses' altar, and that Allah brought him out. There was no Yahweh as of yet inserted into the scripture. We have to know that Yahweh entered into the biblical text during the 6th century, and we could actually see Yahweh being worshipped in the 9th century by the northern kingdom. And this is the 8th century, and this is what caused them to be sent out to exile. So, and then Yahweh ended up becoming a Judean deity only, when Yahweh originated as a tribal deity of the Midianites, the Edomites, and the Kenites, as the Shashu of Yahweh. And those people are still seen today as the Shua Arabs. Those are those people. So we are going to come back with more. And we need to focus on Abraham. This is who brought us out. But even before him, there were predecessors that lived according to the ways of the Ebionite. This is Jacoya.